Welcome to Your Childhood is Over. No, it's not. Where we discuss how people from a toxic or abusive childhood are likely to invite abuse back into their adult lives through a sinister hidden force called repetition compulsion. My name is Annette Hunter. I'm a medical doctor. These videos are my opinion based on my personal experience of being under the control of this force for many years. This channel is not a substitute for therapy. If you feel emotionally overwhelmed or you develop any thoughts of self-harm, please consult a qualified therapist or your doctor immediately. Thank you. In Tales of Repetition Compulsion 4, our character is Jamie. The life category is work, and the bad message is, you are bad, you are wrong. Today's Tale of Repetition Compulsion, a TORC, as I call them, TORC, it shows us how childhood programming follows us into adulthood, especially in the workplace. I will explain it like this. Children learn what they live. So, if a child grows up in a toxic or abusive home, living with abuse becomes their normal. It's what feels familiar to them. In an abusive or toxic environment, children also absorb one or more of the 6 bad messages into their subconscious minds. And just to refresh your memory, the 6 bad messages are what children learn to think about themselves, and they are: number 1, you are not enough. Number 2, you are responsible for me and others. Number 3, don't trust your feelings and don't trust your instincts. Number 4, the one we're dealing with today, you are bad, you are wrong. Number 5, you are alone, nobody loves you. And number 6, you must be perfect or nobody will love you. Gee, is it any wonder that with these 6 bad messages in their heads that adults who had an abusive childhood gravitate towards situations, people and environments that match those messages, even if those situations are harmful. These 6 bad messages lead the charge in programming children to become slaves of the sinister hidden force called repetition compulsion. The child is compelled to invite abuse back into their adult lives, as abuse is their normal. We are programmed to gravitate to what feels normal for us. Therefore, we gravitate towards abusive and toxic people and situations. I think that's so sad and it's so unnecessary. So remember, we do all this subconsciously. This means we are not in control of it. Our subconscious minds are in control. And this is why, in my opinion, repetition compulsion is so sneaky and so destructive, because how can we stop doing something that is bad for us if we don't even know we are doing it? This is why I wrote the book, Your Childhood is Over. No, it's not. And I set up this channel. You see, I want people who came from an abusive or toxic childhood to know about the sinister hidden force called repetition compulsion. Because, as I said, unless someone tells them about it or tells you about it, how will you ever know you are being controlled by this force? I learned about repetition compulsion in my 40s. It was kind of late. And by then, I had made many bad choices and many bad decisions. And I'd allowed many abusive people and situations into my life. But I do have to tell you, and this is the good news, that it all stopped once I became aware that I was operating from a subconscious stance and that I was being controlled by the sinister hidden force called repetition compulsion. And I know I keep repeating it, but I'm helping you absorb it. But when I realized that I was under the control of this force, I forgave myself for all my mistakes, as I was not even aware of why I was making bad choices and bad decisions. I realized I had no self-worth, as I had absorbed all the 6 bad messages when I was a child. And then by the time I became an adult, I felt I was not enough. and I felt I was bad, and I felt I was wrong, and I felt I should look after everyone else. And I couldn't even feel my feelings, and what was really difficult, I didn't even know what my instincts were. And I felt I was alone, and I felt nobody would love me unless I was perfect. Oh God, it was really hard living in my head, I can tell you. I never felt happy. I never felt that I liked myself. All I did was criticize myself. Thinking these things about myself, all I did was attract abusive, exploitative people into my life. Do you think you've gone down this path as well? Do you carry these 6 bad messages too? Has this led you to repeatedly allow toxic or abusive people into your life? So again, just to remind a few new listeners, a tale of repetition compulsion, or a TORC as I call it, TORC, shows how this destructive psychological pattern reveals itself in our everyday lives. It shows how it applies to our everyday lives. And in this tale of repetition compulsion 4, just to say it again, we will look at the bad message, you are bad, you are wrong. And we will deal with the life category of work. And we're going to see how Jamie learned that he was bad and he was wrong in his childhood. And then how years later he repeats this at work without even realising it. Now, these bad messages, again, I'll say it, all sit in our subconscious minds. They're beyond our control. That is till we learn about them, like you are doing right now. So before I go into the tale, let me ask you a few impertinent questions. Do you constantly apologise at work, even when you haven't done anything wrong? Do you panic when someone questions you, even gently, because you worry you will say something wrong or give the wrong answer? Do you automatically assume you must always be a problem? Do you feel defective or wrong without knowing why? Look, if any of this feels familiar, you may have internalized the 6 bad messages and the one we're talking about today, which is you are bad, you are wrong. So let's look at Jamie when he was 8 years old. Jamie is a quiet, thoughtful little boy. Bless him. He tries very hard to please his parents. But in Jamie's home, nothing he does is ever right. If he spills a drop of milk, he gets, "What is wrong with you? You are useless." If he gets an A- in an exam, he gets, "Why didn't you get an A+?" If the poor lad even laughs too loudly, he gets, "Tone it down, you're always so noisy and annoying." If he even asks a question, he gets, "Don't be so stupid, you should know that." Over time, Jamie isn't just told he made a mistake. He's told he is the mistake. Now let's fast forward to Jamie as an adult in the workplace situation. Now remember, he is carrying the bad message, you are bad, you are wrong. Jamie is now 33. He's working in a busy office. One day his manager asks for some ideas, and Jamie suggests one. Then immediately he retracts it and says, "Oh, sorry, it's probably a silly idea. Forget about it." Then a colleague questions a small detail about this idea of Jamie's, but Jamie apologises again, repeatedly. This is what he says. "Sorry, maybe that's my mistake. Oh, it's all my fault. I'll fix it." On another day, when another colleague doesn't understand one of the small points in Jamie's idea, Jamie jumps up and says, "Oh God, I'm so sorry again. I mustn't have explained it at all. I'm sorry, I've got it all wrong. I'll fix it again." Jamie always assumes he is wrong before anyone else has a chance to make any comment. You know, sadly over time, Jamie becomes the problem absorber. He ends up always taking blame for issues he didn't cause. He overworks to compensate for mistakes he never made. He stays silent when he has something really valuable to say, as he is afraid what he has to say will only be wrong. Sadly, people eventually begin to treat Jamie as though he actually is always wrong. Not because he is, but because he behaves as though he is. And this, my friends, is repetition compulsion in action. So, can you see how it destroys Jamie's life? Can you see how important it is to know about this hidden, sinister force, as only then can you stop it from destroying your life too. Now, we're going to meet the three wise tales, and they are Petal, Blossie and Dotty. And the three wise tales, they're going to show you how to escape from this control of repetition compulsion. Now, just to reassure you, it is not difficult to do. You just need someone to show you, because a subconscious force will, by definition, never disclose itself to you. But now you will be aware of this force. It will no longer be subconscious, which means you get to be in control of your life and not a subconscious, sinister force. And now, to show you how to stop this sinister force from controlling your life, let me hand you over to the three wise tales, Petal, Blossie and Dotty.
Hello, my dear friends. It's Petal here. I am the first of the three wise tales. Let me tell you about awareness. Awareness is the first step to escape from the subconscious control of the toxic, sinister, hidden force called repetition compulsion. The word subconscious means you are not in control of this force. It is hidden in your subconscious mind, so you don't even know it is there. Therefore, how can you be aware of something that is bad for you and controls you if you don't even know it exists? If you had a toxic or abusive childhood and then, as an adult, you find you keep getting into the same toxic or abusive situations you experienced as a child, it is very likely that you are under the control of this sinister hidden force called repetition compulsion. But there is hope. Why? Because you are here and now you are learning about this sinister hidden toxic force. You now have an awareness of this force in your life. It is no longer hidden. This means that you can now take back control of your life. You will no longer be a slave to the subconscious drive to recreate the abuse you experienced as a child. This is freedom for you, freedom from repetition compulsion. Now you can look forward to better days ahead, where you will no longer invite toxic or abusive situations like you experienced as a child back into your life. Awareness is the first step to breaking free from repeating toxic patterns. Now, repetition compulsion is a sinister hidden force. It is subconscious, therefore we are not even aware that we are under the control of this force. The second we become aware of this force, this is the second we take back control of our lives. Now it's Blossie's turn to talk to you about trusting your instincts and how important they are in our lives to keep us away from toxic or abusive situations. Let me now hand you over to Blossie. And remember another really important point. I really do woof you.
Hello, my darlings, it's Blossie here. Do you like my pirate hat? Well, let me steal your attention for a bit. Oh, and I may only have one eye, but I see things very clearly, which is why I am the second of the three wise tales. I will tell you the second way to heal from the controlling force of repetition compulsion. I am here to tell you to trust your instincts. You see, a child from a toxic or abusive environment is programmed not to express their feelings and to ignore their instincts. But learning to listen to your instincts is a wonderful, exciting new way to live, because now you can rely on your own inner voice to always protect you. If you feel you are entering a situation that might not be good for you, your instincts will scream loudly at you to stop and think before you proceed. Your inner voice or your instincts will tell you if the situation is likely to land you in a toxic or abusive situation, just like you endured as a child. So, listen to your instincts. They will always guide you to safety. They will always protect you. Now let me hand you over to Dotty. She has something to say to you before we all sign off.
Hello everybody, my name is Dotty and I'm the third of the 3 wise tales. I always have a good message to tell you because I'm the entertainer and the happy one in the bunch. I'm always smiling. So here's the good message I want to tell you. Let's flip that bad message of I am bad, I am wrong to hey, I'm great. I have a lot to offer this world. Keep flipping the bad message and in time you will believe it. You see, you've spent so many years listening to the bad messages. Now you have to replace them with good messages. Yes, it takes practice, but all good achievements take practice. I can see Annette practicing her good messages all the time. Sometimes a bad message will come into her head like the one, I am not enough, and she would immediately flip it and convert it to, I am more than enough, I am worthy, and I have so much to offer this world. Annette practices flipping the bad messages all the time, and it has definitely helped her become more in control of her destiny. Now, it did take Annette time and plenty of practice and repetition in using the 3 ways to break free from the sinister hidden force called repetition compulsion. But this is good repetition and one in which Annette is in control of. So, if Annette can do this, so can you. Remember, and she won't mind me saying this to you, her life was a catalogue of disasters as she kept getting herself into toxic and abusive situations. Now, as she follows the 3 ways to heal, her life is so much better, and so will yours be too. Petal, Blossie and Dotty, the 3 wise tales, we are all here to support you as you learn to break free from repetition compulsion. So, here's to better days ahead with no more toxic situations and no more abuse. This is what we want for you because we all, woof you!